First job I ever had. I started out bussing tables at my aunt's restaurant. It was honestly a pretty haunted place.
Really?
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, like I'm not like a Sixth Sense kid. I don't see dead people everywhere I go, so it makes it stand out when something happens that you can't explain.
Yeah.
And that place was just full of it.
Hold on
Shadow people in the back. What were you saying? Sorry.
No. You carry on with this list.
Okay. Yeah, shadow people in the back. I saw. Basically, they would call it a full body apparition in the back at one point. I was back there folding up silver to rush out to the table. It was a really busy night. And I just see somebody walk across the back. I was like, okay, well, it's probably just somebody that works here. And then I'm like, wait a second. No, they just walked into like a wall. And I look and like, yeah, they just walked into a wall. And I go and check and the back door is locked and there's nobody back there with me. Just a lot of things like that like in the moment that it happens, you're not like ghost, but you have some time to sit and think about it and you're like, well, wait, that's just not possible. Like it was there were really tall ceilings on the dining room floor, like probably close to 18 or 20 feet, I would say. And the floor itself was this varnished concrete, so it was really fucking loud and echoey in there, like even just a few tables in there. And it was so loud, you kind of have to shout to take people's orders. Nonetheless, I would get my name whispered in my ear as I'm like moving between tables and no one's walking with me or anything. Like,
holy shit.
Yeah, lots of stuff like that. Our apron strings getting tugged on. Sometimes our apron strings would get like hooked over bar stools or like the fire extinguisher or whatever we're kind of close to, but not leaning against. Yeah, and as I finally started like telling people that worked there like what I had seen, everybody there was full of stories. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, like the chef that had to close the place every night, he would say he would look out through the kitchen doors. We had these swinging kitchen doors with windows on them, and so he was the last one out every night cleaning the kitchen. He'd look out once everyone was gone from the dining room floor and all the lights were off out there. He would just see figures moving around on the floor all night long.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So hold on. Hold on a second.
Oh, Sheriff Chase is coming in.
Did you know it was haunted before you? Like, it seems like it's obvious. Like, people are just like, yeah, it's haunted. Whatever. Give me the cilantro. Like,
yeah.
It seems like it's very common.
It's no, we didn't talk to customers about it. And I certainly had never heard any stories. Things just started happening. And I kept them to myself for a long time. And then the first time that I like mentioned it to somebody, I found out that like basically everyone there had been talking about it. Like, oh yeah, shit, yeah. Like, I've heard her voice, or yeah, I've seen him, or the creepy thing. I can put a bow on this story. It'll just take me a second. But there was like so the place used to be an auto garage. That's like what it had started out as. And looking back, the man that I saw in the back that could not have been back there with me was definitely dressed like a mechanic. But there was like a little root cellar in there that would have been like the car pit where they did work, underneath the belly or whatever back in the day.
You pull the car in and like people just work on it. Like, I mean, they still have those at like a Valvoline or whatever.
Yeah, but it had been converted into like this little root cellar, and so it's just like a square opening in the floor. There was no light bulb down there, or not even a light switch, and we didn't store anything down there. Like, it was, even though we rented the building, that space in the building just was not used. But still, like when you would come in for like your next shift, like just from the day before, there would be like new bits of paper and torn up magazine and shit like trampled down onto the steps. And so eventually the chef's wife came in, and she's a woman that does claim to be like very sensitive to these kinds of things. And like, she'll walk in and be like, oh, this is what that is. And basically everything that she said kind of matched everyone's experiences. She was like, okay, so on the dining room floor, there's a woman that likes to play pranks. She likes to tug on your apron strings and whisper in your ear.
Oh my God.
In the back, there's a man that worked here and was killed here in like an accident. And in the root cellar, there is something that was never human.
What the fuck? Oh, hold on. I love that she's like, oh yeah, easy number one, easy number two, and number three, Dimmadog. Never human.
I've always said there's only thing worse than a ghost is a ghost that makes work harder. Just like always coming in, fucking dirtying dishes, slamming doors. I like to think that like that first time you spent most of that experience just being like, well, there's some fucking lazy fucker not helping me with these dishes. It's just like, walking around. That would be, especially because you were like 17, 18, you said, right? When you started around there?
Yeah, and I didn't start to notice more of this stuff. It kind of took a couple of years for the activity to really pick up around there.
Okay, but it's like, but it's like, you're a young man, so it's gotta, like, I don't know how long I'd have to go through a lot before I was finally like, you know what, I gotta tell someone about these ghosts. I'd write it off for a long time before. So I'm like, I'm the new guy. I don't want to be like, they think I'm weird because I brought a ghost.
Yeah, and definitely it was because I worked there off and on for a long time. Like I started there when I was like 16, and I think I worked my last shift there when I was 30. I came and went over the years, but as I came back, and it was as I got older that I would start to see the really lit shit, like the shadow figure and the full body guy. Like it started out with like the smaller stuff, and then I started to see things and like my final days working there. Yeah.
Okay, hold on here. This is your aunt's restaurant?
Yeah, my aunt.
What's her relationship to all this?
She's pretty accepting of ghosts. She lives in a house that everyone thinks is haunted. We lived there for a few months, and I thought the place was creepy because it was old, but I never experienced anything too much there. But like my mom did. My mom has stories about it. My aunt and uncle and my dad all like said that they saw weird shit there. Like, so I don't like. I never talked to her too much about it. I talked to the other servers there about it a lot. But because they were kind of who I was working with when I was there. My aunt wasn't really like on the floor pounding the pavement with us, you know. She was running the office in the back usually, or sometimes helping in the kitchen.
What kind of restaurant was this?
It was the big thing was the wine menu. The wine menu was way more extensive than the food, and then they just kind of it was like Pan American style. Yeah. Like they had like kind of like deep South food, different kind of like catfish dishes,
New American
sandwiches, and yeah, kind of. And my aunt's husband is like a master winemaker, so he would put together the wine menu, and like that was definitely the main focus of the restaurant. And like not like the food was an afterthought, but if
someone's talking about the restaurant, they're gonna say, but their wine menu is incredible, you know. That's what they're gonna say first.
Yeah, they're gonna go wine, food, ghosts. That's what you're. That's the order of what's going on there.
Yeah,
it's
and now it's like a ladies' clothing store. And so I want to go in there someday and just like ask them like anything weird ever happened.
There's just like go in there and be like, there's something in here that was never human, and then like one lady like. Hey! Hey, shut up!
Was it like a freestanding structure, or is it in like a? I'm very curious.
No, it's right across. For anybody that's familiar with Lodi, California, it's on School Street. It's across from where the movie theater is. It's directly across from a mortuary that is behind the movie theater in Lodi.
Okay,
so that's kind of
this together.
Yeah, you kind of are facing a mortuary, but it's also like it's a small town, and there isn't really a downtown, but there's this one little stretch of School Street that it's like their downtown stretch. So it was kind of at the tail end of that. It was a good location. It was a pretty building. Where they.
So you said you worked there on and off for a long time. Just
I would like. Place. Yeah, like I went off and my mom started her own business, so I went and I worked there for a few years instead, and then I went off and did acting conservatory, and then I came back for like 6 more months before I moved to Chicago after I had graduated from conservatory. And that's when I saw the most was just in that last stretch of those few months where I was like, okay, damn, I get it. Like,
I get it. I've been to acting school. Now I'm sensitive to the world. I can name that because also disappointingly been to acting school.
Yeah, you were also cult indoctrinated at acting school.
Yeah, correct. It's, cult and occult is not far off. Just love the fact that the ghosts start bullying you, just like following your dreams or whatever. Like, hey, fuck you!
Like, no, God.
Just trying to get some tips. So yeah, you never left. I mean, essentially, it's been closed. So it's like you kind of were like, yeah, you never really got hired. You never really got fired. You just sort of like,
I left because I was gonna move. And yeah, I was also just tired of working there. I left a couple weeks earlier than I had to.
Yeah,
you know,
especially if you got dreams on the horizon. You're like, I gotta get them.
Time for these small town ghosts.
Yeah.
Stupid fucking mechanic ghosts.
Yeah. That restaurant I'd been working at since I was 16 just wasn't hitting the same anymore. So,